向き笑うその方を伝う涙一粒
Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 4 haunts me. I love this show so much, from Jaden's stupid little haircut to all the cute gags to this guy who just wears too many coats.
ジャイアントオークを攻撃表示で召喚
But Season 4 is why people remember Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That, or the moment when the world's buffest teenager uses his dino DNA, manifests his dinosaur stand, flies into space, and destroys the mind control satellite. I love this show. Can you believe this happens in the same TV show where our cast is briefly buried alive? Well, that the show starts with Jaden as basically Titus from Final Fantasy X and ends as Shinji Ikari. Right down to having to fight human instrumentality, actually. Coincidentally, if I was a Pokemon, this would be my evolution line. Oh no, is that sad? Anyway. We start with Jaden. He returns from his journey, older, wiser, and severely traumatized. You know, it's like university, but with murder. What's so clever about this is no one ever says Jaden is severely depressed, because this was 2007, where the idea of mental illness as issue was regarded the same way that Disney villain regards foolish concepts like your human love or friendship. You know, just a couple loud plosives for the mic. Let's go. Woo! No, GX doesn't tackle Jaden's mental state directly, at least not at first. No, instead, we just feel the camera shift slowly to the side characters and their own struggles, as we watch Jaden slowly isolate himself, spending days at a time inside, with the curtains drawn, lying in bed, fully dressed, staring at the ceiling. You know, self-care. This is why Season 4 of GX has possibly aged better than any other series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Jaden's friends want to help him, but they can't. He won't reach out. They don't know what to do. And so, they move on without him. Not for a lack of love, but because... what else are you gonna do? None of them can stop time. What's so clever is we do the same thing. Move on to new protagonists. Side characters getting A-plots, while Jaden just fades into the background. It's not that we don't like him or want him to be happy, but the show's not going to stop. He isolates himself from the audience of his own TV show. And, in doing, finally after 3 seasons, allows some time for all of the side characters to breathe and get their plots wrapped up just in time for the series to come to a satisfying end. Ah, it's so well done. It's so clever. You remember how Mai never won an important duel in the entire series, and then her arc about friendship was left completely unresolved? Like every character besides Yugi and Yami. GX ain't like that, baby. GX loves its side characters. GX, except Bastion, I guess. For some reason, the show really hates Bastion. And Blair. But besides those two, this show loves its side characters. You get an arc, and you get an arc, and you get an arc! And Jaden doesn't completely disappear. We still occasionally see him popping up in the background, dealing with vague evil threatening to consume the island. But don't really need a lot more into that plotline, because we have seen that plotline 3 other whole times. Here the show just full-on moves into pastiching itself, and it's fantastic. But what's interesting is last times we've done this, it's mostly been a lesson in the power of friendship, a la most shonen, and god do I love the power of friendship. What's so smart is here they're taking what would have been the A-plot in any other season, and instead they're making it a background plot, and removing and stripping away all of the side characters, both to hammer home just how powerful our protagonist has grown, and also how isolated he is now. Point also driven home pretty well last season when he became card game Hitler and conquered most of a country, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, don't get so judgy. You know you would do the same thing on your worst day if you were more competent. But ignore that brief period where Jaden flexed on every other villain in the series by being a far more competent villain in a couple episodes than any of them managed an entire season. No, Jaden's not the villain, he's the good guy! I hope. But it's here we finally have the context to understand the big thesis statement of Season 4, and that is using plot armor against its own protagonist. They turn plot armor into a plot cage. See, Jaden's very good in many areas, but the one thing he really can't address is his continuously deteriorating mental state. See, any other character in the series, when faced with the main villain, would be forced to ask for help, get reinforcement. In fact, we see that happen. A lot. But we don't really see that from Jaden. No, he's strong enough to carry the entire main plot on his own. He's the protagonist, he has his plot armor. He doesn't need to ask anyone for help, he can power of hope his way through most problems. What Jaden needs is to ask for help. But he can never be forced to do it because he's too competent. He's too much of a protagonist. He even takes on the main villain, an embodiment of darkness and isolation, and soundly crushes him in a couple turns. Normally, defeating Isolation's embodiment would, make a character's arc end. But interestingly, the series doesn't end there. Instead, it just continues. The main plot wrapped up, everyone else celebrating, moving on to bigger and better things, their arcs resolved, more adventure ahead of them. Jaden, just as isolated now as he was before. Jaden doesn't need to kill the cosmic embodiment of skull faces and Hot Topic. He needs to goddamn reach out. No, there's no way a main villain could defeat Jaden, especially no one that embodies isolation and darkness and all that such. No, at this point the only thing that could defeat plot armor is plot armor. Another protagonist. Oh yeah, baby! Now this is how you end a series. No the biggest bad, but a big fancy spectacle throwdown spectacular. Pitting two protagonists against each other like every schoolyard argument you've ever had. Ah! It's beautiful, and I love it. And it's finally only here where he's challenged again, where he's finally forced to his limits that he's actually able to look back and start enjoying all the things that used to give him pleasure. Where he's finally able to notice that all the things he loved never went away, he just stopped looking at them. Ooh, done. Man, that was long, and I actually cut out the entire segment about Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3, and all the queer coding stuff about Jesse and Jaden and Kronos and all the teacher murder subplots, but it's done. If you want more, comment. I have more to say about this. This is only about a fifth of the actual video I had planned, but I only have so much time. If you have interest, say, I'll probably get back to this someday, but probably sooner, if you say. Also, you should hang out on the Reddit. I'm gonna, respond to comments now on, the Discord and the Reddit and the YouTube, so, say hi. I'd like to talk to you guys. I like you guys. It's nice.